And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel guys. I hope you're all well. Before we do get into today's live stream, as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily British content. I'm going to plug this because it's completely relevant for today guys, so just bear with me. A little plug for those of you that want to get your Stuck Farmer t-shirts. Have a watch.
Just a quick one to say we have new Stuck Farmer t-shirts available on our store. Go grab them now. They are available at britishstand.com or check the link in the description.
Okay, enough of that, guys. Sorry, I did need to plug it just because it's completely relevant with regards to today. Not just for farmers, but you know, you get it. It's a great big FU to Keir Starmer. Now, speaking about Keir Starmer, of course, there was the farmers' protest today happening in the capital. A great turnout, actually, really good numbers that came down, and of course, peaceful protest as it always has been, or always going to be, and a few famous faces did show up. Jeremy Clarkson, one of the more sort of high-profile members. There was also, of course, Nigel Farage, but loads and loads of people were out in solidarity, basically, with the farming community that are going to be hit with the inheritance tax, of course, from Rachel Reeves's last budget. Now, again, it's not just the inheritance tax in general. This is the big misconception with regards to this protest. It's not just about the inheritance tax. Yes, the inheritance tax does cause lots and lots of problems. Of course it does. But it just feels that this Labour government are trying to kill farming in general. And to be fair, the farmers have stood up. It's not just because of the inheritance tax and just being able to get cheap premium food made within Britain is just going to become impossible under this Labour government, and it's going to continue to do so with the way they are affecting the industry. Things like buying equipment, tools, all of this sorts of stuff that they use. The whole British farming industry is really struggling, and they're just making things a lot worse. And they were rightfully so to come out in protest today, as stated, some really good numbers. But as I said yesterday in the sort of preview live stream, I do feel it will fall on deaf ears, and we are starting to get that feeling. There's been a few Labour ministers react. Keir Starmer has made his sort of controversial response to it, which we'll discuss and show you the clip in a moment. But of course, listen, I do feel for the farmers, of course, but great to see the amount of numbers down there. And as Nigel Farage and a lot of other people within the political space are pushing for them to try and change their mind. Rachel Reeves is messed up. Of course she's messed up. It's not too late to say, look, we effed up here. Let's make a U-turn on this. But unfortunately, this government are very stubborn. They think they've got it done perfectly and are not going to U-turn, in my opinion. Well, you can take it from Keir Starmer, as he has had his say, kind of, as you always know. He gets asked a question, he ditters around it, he never really speaks about the question that he's asked, but he did get, there was an interview today where he was asked about the situation. He was kind of saying, do you understand? And then he just went on a tangent, told us some more lies, and then spoke about it's not going to affect that many farmers. But we'll discuss and show you this clip of what was said today.
Party too urban, that's what Baroness Melia said. She's the Countryside Alliance president. You don't really get the countryside. When were you last on a farm, for example?
My first job was on a farm, Jay. I grew up in the countryside. All of my entire family live in the countryside. We're a rural family. I'm the only one that lives
Why do you get
in a city. I do get it, and that's why I'm able to say with confidence that threshold for a typical case at £3 million is a very high threshold. And therefore the vast majority of farmers will be unaffected. But I also do know that it matters to rural communities that we are investing in their NHS. They rely on it just as much as anybody in a town or city. It matters that their schools are fit for their children, and it matters hugely that there's enough housing for them and their families that's affordable in rural areas. They're central concern.
On TV News, we have a Clive Bailey, his son Henry. Henry's 12. He's disappointed and sad that you'll be taking away farming from his generation. He says he can't maybe not be a farmer in the future. Why are you taking away Henry's dreams?
Well, I don't know the details of Henry's case. I don't know what the farm in that particular case is worth, but clearly if it's under, assuming it's a mum and dad passing on to
Yes.
Henry, then that would be the £3 million threshold. So that would mean it's unaffected. But I don't know the details of the particular case.
Yeah, so, as you can see there, now Keir Starmer, of course, we know what he's like. His uncle got torpedoed, remember? His father was a toolmaker, and now he lived on a farm and he was brought up in the countryside. Again, look, I'm not going to go in there and say too much on Keir Starmer, but he's done quite a lot of stuff. And from what I remember about Keir Starmer and where he sort of grew up, living in a rural area is actually very, very different to working on a farm and living on a farm. Just because you live kind of near the countryside doesn't mean you worked or lived on a farm, which means that you understand. You don't understand whatsoever. He's always trying to seem relevant. He's always trying to act as if he's in it with the people, that he really understands. But genuinely, he doesn't understand. So now he's a guy that's worked on a farm and lived on farms, worked on farms, understands living in that sort of community, which again he doesn't. Because from what I remember, Oxted, which is a sort of commuter town next to Southwark, where he grew up, where he was born in Southwark, and then moved to Oxted, which is a commuter town, is hardly brought up in the countryside. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, it's funny that we have to put up with this sort of pathological liar. But with regards to the situation, again, he's just giving us the same crap that we hear all of the time. You know, we've got to fix the foundations, that the 22 billion black hole, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, and just going on and going on. So I think that response is there for all of you guys to see, that there is going to be no change. There is going to be nothing done about this, despite the countless people coming out and speaking about it. The farmers on the ground today, as stated, high-profile people, celebrities, ministers within Parliament, also coming out in solidarity, talking about this, that this is going to be the final straw for farming, British farming. They don't care. It's all a part of the master plan, and as you can see there, in Keir Starmer's response, he certainly doesn't give a crap. And again, he's just trying to play that card that, you know, he was brought up or worked on a farm, brought up in the countryside. He knows what it's like to live there. He doesn't know a thing about what those farmers are going through, the farming community's going through. He hasn't got an idea. And just more lies to the camera there, straight to us. As stated, his uncle torpedoed in the Falklands, and him living in the rural, in the countryside, working on farms, his father a toolmaker, as he always used to say, his amazing law career and all that sorts of stuff. But yeah, living in a rural area in the United Kingdom does not make you a farmer, nor does it mean that you understand what the farmers are going through in this moment in time. Oh, yeah, my first job was on a farm. I lived in the rural area. Shut up. Absolute minutes. Just talks absolute crap every single time he goes onto an interview. But regardless of that, look, that's kind of his response. We're kind of being backed up with another one. There was a Labour minister on Sky News today. Not that I watch Sky News or anything like that, but a clip emerged on my X timeline. So I had to watch. Absolute car crash of an interview, by the way. But yeah, talking about that they're not going to U-turn on it. Rachel Reeves has also said that the budget is perfect. They're not going to be going back on it. So whilst, you know, they went out and did their protest today, I did feel that it was always going to land on deaf ears. But here's a little glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, there'll be enough pressure to try and reverse these changes and save British farming. But as stated, I don't think that's a part of the master plan for Keir Starmer and this Labour government. I think that they want to continue to destroy farming. As stated, it is a part of the master plan. Read up on it if you so wish. But let's take a few comments, guys. Hope you're all well. Do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. A ton of people tuning in, so a big shout out to all of you guys. But let's go through it all. As stated, a lot of people were liking that one with regards to him saying that he was a farmer. worked on a farm and lived in a rural area. But Steve V, he's a member, by the way. Guys, see Steve V with this little logo. Big shout out to you, Steve. Thank you for supporting the channel, going the extra mile. If you do want to help support the channel, as stated, it just goes back into maybe getting a new set, sorting out the background, so I've not got my microwave in the background. If you want to become a member and help support the channel, then do. You'll get a little logo thing next to your name like Steve does. So big shout out to Steve for supporting the channel. You just do it by pressing join. Again, nothing. You get discounted merchandise and stuff like that, but if you don't want to, there's no pressure. You still get the same content. How did he actually pass law school? Send a body double to do his exam, says Stevie. I have no idea. He would be a handy tool on the farm, says James McMullen. My dad was a farmer, Starmer. Loads of people were there. His first job was a pheasant plucker. More than I can say about him now. The most hated man in British history, says Malcolm. Yes. Does anyone else wonder if Keir's wife shaves? Ooh, well, I nearly read that one out. Starmer is as much a use as a second-hand toilet paper. A lot of people going in there. A lot of people digging into Keir Starmer, and rightfully so. He's an absolute arse. And to be honest with you, his interviews, they're just the worst things to listen to. He just tiptoes around everything. And to be fair, that interview there, just talking about the situation, just trying to make himself relatable. It's all about the Keir Starmer show, just to try and show that he is the most relatable person ever, as stated. If someone's done something in life, then his family or his family members or himself have already done it. So if you've been to Tenerife this summer, he's already been to 11 Tenerife. You know, he already understands exactly what everybody else is going through in this life, as stated. Now he's a farmer. Now he's lived on farms all his days. He grew up on a farm. Fucking shut up. Absolute idiot. He's in love with Davos. Buy powdered milk now. Stuck Farmer t-shirt is great quality. Love it. Thank you, Barry, for the shout out there, guys. Thank you for the thing. For those of you that do want a Stuck Farmer t-shirt, they are available on BritishStand.com. As I said, they're pretty fast delivery. I mean, Barry can maybe vouch for that. As I said, we try and get them out as quickly as possible. I think Starmer never had friends as a kid, as I still to this day he doesn't. You know, he doesn't really have any social cues. It's like he doesn't know how to speak properly. Again, he's always stuttering. He's always just speaking about completely irrelevant things, and he never answers questions all of the time. His dad was a farm tool maker. Maybe that's it. But again, next week in Prime Minister's Questions, his family would have done something else, or he would have, done all this other stuff. So we'll wait and see what he's done next week. Yeah, they loved it. What else have we got here, guys? Oh, I mean, people are bringing up Big Jimmy. Yeah, close ties to him, of course. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen some of the footage, then there is a lot of footage emerging from social media, cutting about of the farm protest. As I said, it was pretty peaceful. It was farmers. It was a good showing. I think just over 10,000. I think people were saying. Sky News tried to say hundreds. Of course, they did. The mainstream media, they tried to say hundreds of people showed up, but of course, it was tens of thousands that made the trip to London. And it was good. It was a good show. A lot of speeches. A lot of affected families getting the airtime that they deserve. Some going up on stage and really speaking for the people. Nigel Farage as well, obviously going around on his live stream, speaking to actual people that have been affected by the situation. And when you understand it, and when you start to listen to people's stories, you really understand that it's much more than just the inheritance tax. It's not just as plain and simple as just saying inheritance tax and that's it. But it's the British farming in general that is getting completely destroyed within this country. And speaking of those people that were there in attendance, they're all saying that this is the final straw for British farming, and that's something that should be seriously troubling, not just to the farming community, but for the widespread of Britain, the way that we eat, the way we get food, all these kind of things. And the government should care, but they don't, because as stated, getting rid of the farms is a part of the master plan, of course. It's seriously sad, and there has been threatened. There's been more threats, of course, from the farmers that if they don't get heard here, they're going to be taking matters into their own hands. Some even saying to Nigel Farage in that live interview that that they will go full France style. And if you don't know what happened in France when they effed around with the farmers, then, well, the place is going to be a shit show. Let's put that lightly. You know, manure being sprayed everywhere, all this sorts of stuff. And again, I'm not condoning that, but of course people are rightfully angry and are going after it and want this change to happen. They want farming to be saved because people just can't cope. The farmers can't cope. The people of the farming community can't cope. So they're going to escalate the level of protest if this falls on deaf ears, which at the time of recording, it certainly seems that way. But guys, I've kept you enough for too long. I'm sure your time is very, very precious. And thank you so much for tuning in. Big shout out to our members. Big shout out to everyone that's bought a Stuck Farmer t-shirt. And big shout out to everyone who just likes and subscribes to this channel, even shares stuff. So big shout out to you all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next live stream. Take care, look after yourselves, and Stuck Farmer.